and welcome back to my channel, Lydia Lost the Plot. It's been a hot minute since we've done a weekly update. I know that I've had a few different videos on my channel recently, but I'm here for the weekly update. And I have read, not loads, but quite a bit since we last checked in. It has been a bit of a whirlwind couple of weeks. I've now got a week off work, which is fantastic. I think I'm going to spend it reading and hopefully celebrating England's win at the Euros. I might have cursed it by just saying that. The day I'm filming it is Sunday, and it is the day of the Euros final. For anyone that follows football, this is a big deal for us. And I have high hopes, and I'm being optimistic that we will win. And I'll leave it at that. Listen, we're against Spain. It's going to be tricky. But we are the underdogs in everything, so I think we'll be fine. But in terms of bookish news that has happened, we have had, basically, what have we had? We've had the Waterstones Debut Fiction Prize has been fully announced. We're getting the winner very soon. Wait for my video. It's coming, I promise. That's very exciting. And yeah, we've had a few nice announcements made. The biggest kind of thing that's happened is the New York Times have released their 100, I think it's 100 best books of the 21st century so far, which is bonkers and dead exciting. So I think I'm going to do some kind of a video on it. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to see what other people are making, because I'm not really sure how to go about it. I definitely can't read all 100. I don't know whether to maybe read the top 10. That might be quite fun. But if there's something that you'd like to see me do in regards to that list, let me know in the comments down below, because that would be cool. So that was really fun. And if you've not listened to the New York Times book podcast, they did a whole episode dedicated to it and why they chose what they chose. The winner, and if you don't want to know, if you haven't looked at the list yet, skip ahead now. But the winner was My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante, which I have and have not read. More fool me. So I really feel like that's going to have jumped up my list, but because it's part of a quartet, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to series. I feel like I'm going to have to read the whole quartet, which is an undertaking. But listen, I could do it. We could do a video. See? It all works out. But when I left you, moving on to the weekly reading, when I last left you, I believe that I was finishing off The Ministry of Time by Kaliane. Now, this was good. It was enjoyable. It had a great concept, and there was a lot about it that I enjoyed. But, and there's a but, and there is a big but, we didn't get enough of the backstory of the characters. We didn't get enough time with some of the characters, and I feel like it just became, in the last third of the book, it became very plot heavy rather than character heavy, which is what I prefer in books. Now, I think there'll be a load of people that love this book because of that reason, and I completely agree that it does what it says in the tin, and it does it really well. But for me, there was just so much more I wanted to know about these characters. One of the characters is based on a real guy. In fact, I think quite a few of them are, but this particular character is based on a real guy, and there was so much we could have mined in his character and unlocked and discovered about having to come to a new period of time and adjust, and imagine what that would do to you. It's like taking Charles Dickens and putting him in 21st century London and being like, how do you feel? Like, how cool would that be? Yet this book kind of gives you tastes and glimpses, but it doesn't go into it. So good. enjoyable, and I will be going a bit more in depth about it in my Waterstones Debut Fiction Prize video, because this is one of the nominated books. But I'm kind of left like that. Enjoyed it. Not to say I didn't enjoy it. The next book that I tackled was The Silence in Between by Josie Ferguson. This is a proof copy. It's very pretty though. Look how pretty. Love the yellow. Oh, we match. I got distracted by the colour yellow, honestly. This was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's one of those books where I started off and I was a bit like, not sure about this. The two main characters have a connection. I don't want to give it away, but the issue I had with it was that their voices were quite similar in narrative style and similar in tone. So when it came to toing and froing between the two, because it's a dual narrative, at points I was like, who am I again? Like, what? Because some of the circumstances that they were in were similar. So there was too much similarity for me to really kind of get to grips with it. It took me a while to be like, oh, this is Lizette and this is the other character, and I don't know. I think that it's a very good book, and it tells the story of what happened to basically a lot of German women after the war and during the war, particularly, and this is a big trigger warning, so be careful if you are going to pick this up, but it has got scenes of sexual abuse in, it has got scenes of rape, and it's not an easy read. However, it's something I did not know had happened. And when we read fiction, I think a lot of the time we read fiction for escapism, but what fiction can do really well is educate us, and not in a, oh, you must be educated kind of annoying way, but in a opening our eyes to things in history that have happened that we wouldn't have even dared to imagine happened. And so I thought the concept was absolutely phenomenal, and I felt like the way that it was approached was very careful and considered and not at all exploitative, which is important with a book with this subject matter. However, bit too similar. Some of the similarities between the characters just bled into each other, and I don't know whether that was intentional, that you kind of felt like they were almost this one person, but didn't really work for me. However, pick it up and learn something, because bloody hell, did I not know that. And the last book that I tackled off the Waterstones Debut Fiction Prize list was Mongrel by Hanako Footman. Now, I adored this book. It was bloody brilliant. I mean, we get the it's a trio of women from different walks of life, but all of them are sort of dealing with identity and race and where they fit in the world and coming of age and tradition and the juxtaposition of old values and new values. And it's just so well thought out. The plot is sublime. I mean, there are gentle twists and turns and little reveals that you feel come really naturally. None of it feels forced. None of it feels convoluted, which I think can happen when you have interweaving narratives. They do interweave to a certain extent, and then there is a culmination at the end that is just so good. I think it may have been 50 pages too long. There was just a little bit at the end where I was like, okay, we can wrap it up now. Because it goes along at a lick. It's a really good pace. But yeah, I think the last sort of 100 pages, I felt like 50 pages, I felt like we didn't need to know. But again, I'm the queen of an unresolved ending, so give me a sort of, not a cliffhanger, but give me the space with which to imagine what happens, whereas this felt like it was trying to tie things up in a bow, which I'm not a fan of. However, brilliant writing, a fantastic exploration of girlhood, womanhood, sexuality, race, equality. It was just, it's so meaty, it's so full of detail that I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a book that I think a lot of the time may get overlooked because it's not flashy, it's not in your face fiction, but it's just quietly brilliant. And I think if you're looking for something that's got women at the centre, that's got multiculturalism at the centre, and something that's gonna test boundaries of sort of morals and taste and acceptability, this is the book for you. It's so good. I thoroughly enjoyed my reading experience of it as well. I felt like I got to go from sort of go throughout the whole of it with this sort of wonderment, because I didn't know what was going to happen, and there was constant twists and turns, but not in a silly way. You know, sometimes you just think, oh, what are you doing that for? You know what I mean? Just write it normal. This was very good. So I would highly recommend this book as well. If you're looking for a good book to get your teeth into, this would be one. And now moving on to my current read, which is Challenger by Adam Higginbotham. Now I am super into this. I have already read loads. Look at it. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop myself. I keep saying just one chapter, but oh my gosh. So anyone that knows me, you guys know me now, but if you're new here, you will know anything to do with a real life situation, circumstance that happened that's tragic, full of death and grief and sorrow. It's like catnip. Like, give it to me. Please let me have it. And this fits the bill completely. I know some people think it's a little bit voyeuristic, it's a little bit exploitative sometimes when we go back and we look at historical events and we mine them for information, and I understand where that comes from, but when it is done in such a neutral and objective way, you can really look at the facts of the situation and you can really educate yourself on these moments in history. And this is about the Challenger spaceflight, which, if you don't know, and if you don't know, you've been buried under a rock this whole time, or you've never listened to Beyonce. The Challenger space shuttle exploded, killing 7 astronauts, and it was basically the beginning of the end of the space program that NASA fronted. And finding out, if you don't know why it blew up, this would be really good to get your teeth into. Don't watch anything before you read it, but if you do know, it's even more engaging because you can see it happening. And what I love about this book is it really does show the detail of and the hard work and of the engineers and mechanics and the people behind Challenger that really wanted this spacecraft to be safe. Safety was the utmost priority, and then money came into it, and then you start to see how this kind of like Swiss cheese effect of, you know, the holes all lining up at once to make this one situation happen. You see this start to unravel and you just want to jump and say, don't get in it, don't get in it. But they do, and you know it's going to happen, you know it's going to end in tragedy. But it's so, so engaging. Adam has this wonderful way of making every character, and I say character because they feel like characters, but every person completely three-dimensional, completely relatable, and you see them as people. They're not just statistics, they're not just people, the astronauts, they're not just the engineers, the flight controller. They are real people with real hopes and fears. And there's moments where it talks about the actual terror of Chris McAuliffe, who was the teacher that went aboard the shuttle, and about her real terror at the last moment of kind of being like, oh, I'm gonna go to space, and knowing what happens. You just, you know, and you get to know her family, and you get to know all of the astronauts and their dreams and where they came from, and it's so detailed, it's so well researched. You can tell that Adam has gone into the depths and annals of history and plucked every single relevant detail out, and none of the mechanical engineering, aeronautical terms are beyond comprehension. If you think, oh my gosh, I'd never even be able to understand that, he writes it in such almost simplistic terms, but in terms that a layman could understand. You know, I can explain this to my 5-year-old daughter and she would totally understand what I meant. Not that, you know, I'm like Challenger, but yeah, my daughter, she's like me, so who knows. Her favourite movie's Jaws. I know. But I think that this book is a phenomenal piece of non-fiction. I think it should be nominated for the Baillie Gifford Prize. I think it should be nominated for every non-fiction prize going, please, because the journalism and the actual research that has gone into this is unbelievable. If you can hear a fly, I think I've got a fly in here. Oh, for good. Oh, I thought I could be like Mr. Miyagi and catch it then. Didn't work. So if you can hear a word buzzing, it's a fly. Don't worry, I've not got some kind of vibration going on. But yes, so this is my current read. I am, let's see how far we are. I'm 358 pages in. Very exciting. I got this new bookmark from my boss at work. How pretty. Look, it's shiny. It's pink. It's got butterflies. Very excited about it. But yeah, so this is my current read. In terms of what I'm going to read next, I'm not really sure, because I do have a week off work. I was planning on getting to a few of my backlist titles and a couple of proofs. However, now the New York Times has released their best books of the 21st century so far, now I'm like, do I look on my shelves and do a little project this week of just reading a few of them? Or do I read by whim, which is dangerous because gosh knows what I'm going to pick up. Or what? I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I wasn't going to read Challenger next, but it called out to me from the ether and I was like, I can't not pick it up. So that kind of happened by whim. But there's nothing that I'm like, I must get to that next. Do you know what I mean? But then there's so many. I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. Oh, I don't know if you can tell I'm a bit sunburnt. Again. I shouldn't be trusted in the sun. So yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to read next, but I will check in with you guys and I will let you know what I'm reading. I'm loving reading a bit of non-fiction after reading the debut fiction prize. So whether or not I stick with the non-fiction, I'm not sure. But it will be cool to maybe go for something that has been on my shelf for a while. I am conscious of how long things wait to be read in my house. But if there is anything that you recommend I get to first, or that you want to hear me talk about, then please let me know in the description box below. This coming week, I'm not sure, I don't think we've got the book of prizes this week, it's next week, isn't it? So we're a bit quiet on book news. Look, there's the fly. Honest to God. Sorry, I've got distracted by a fly now. Yeah, so we're a bit quiet on book news, but I think that I will be trying to get to a few of my backlist titles. So we'll see. We'll see. But what are you currently reading? Please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what else you'd like to see on this channel. You know, I'm always up for a video request, and I will do them, I promise, as long as, you know, within reason. Don't make me a bungee jump or, you know, read out of a plane or something at skydive. I'm not sure I could do it. How would you hold the book? Anyway, sorry, I got distracted again. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will speak to you all soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.